Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Church of Chonkwij podcast. My name is DrNiggle. I am joined tonight by Masami, OmegaConstruct, and Zero Burn. Leetness could not be with us tonight owing to an unfortunate incident during dinner this past week. He was exposed to what was unbeknownst to him, an artesian sausage which featured shellfish. He is in the hospital recovering. We wish him a speedy recovery and that his buttocks returns to a manageable size. It's been a great week for a lot of us, and slight updates from our last podcast, Omega.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a brief update on The Sims. We talked a little bit about The Sims 4 and how ridiculous the $780 something of DLC is for that game. Well, there's a new update coming down the pipeline, and they are finally adding something much requested. Last seen in The Sims 3 Generations expansion pack. The Sims 4 is finally going to get bunk beds.
Oh my god. Can I buy it for the low price of $29.95?
Probably about that. But seriously though, how the fuck does this game not have bunk beds in it? This game's been out for like 7 years.
But seriously though, how the fuck is this an update?
Like
bunk beds? Really?
That's really the reason I wanted to bring this up. Like, how the fuck have bunk beds not been in like the base game from launch day?
That makes no sense.
Wait a minute. A quick Google search could yield whether or not there are already bunk beds in Sim 4. What am I doing?
I mean, I doubt PC Gamer is going to be making articles about them finally getting bunk beds if bunk beds exist.
No, you're right. Yep, you're right. Sims 4 bunk beds officially announced for the game from Digital Spy, Games Radar, PC Gamer, and Extra Time Media. Yeah, great. Okay, so this is big news.
Yeah, like that's why it's hilarious.
This is big news, people.
This is actually big news that a 7-year-old game, 7-year-old Sims 4, is finally getting bunk beds.
Oh my god. If they didn't already have coffee machines in the game, I would say that's next.
Well, they say have their priorities straight.
Christ's sakes, yeah. Okay, so they need more coffee machines. I can only remember 2 distinct coffee machines. There are probably more than that. And an espresso machine is not a coffee machine, people. So those don't count. It's a different fucking thing. I mean, this is important. This is why we get together and we do this podcast, so we can talk about such hard-hitting issues as the difference between a coffee maker and an espresso maker.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. You totally aren't wrong, and everybody seems to think that they're the exact same thing.
Well, good news.
Hipsters.
Now, if we're all in a game of Sims 4, somehow, impossibly, we can put 2 bunk beds in a room and all stay in them. Yay.
That's true, actually, with the whole podcast crew here. We could get you and Kosin. Obviously, you share a bunk bed. And then I guess it's between...
God, models aren't sized to life.
It's between Leetness I to flip a coin to see who can share with Omega, and then Zero and whoever gets the other one.
And just like that, just like in real life, Zero is chosen last. Ouch.
It's like middle school gym class all again.
I'm having flashbacks.
In reality, it's 50-50 either way. So we're both being decided by a coin flip, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I said it's between me and Leetness to flip, see who gets Omega. So
yes.
You're guaranteed. It's 50-50 whether I'm going to sleep alone. This is...
Well, now I'm not a person. Now he's just sleeping alone. What the fuck?
Yeah, I thought you said the loser of the coin flip.
I have been unpersoned.
Sleeps with Zero.
Everyone deserves cuddles, Doc. You can make that the tagline.
I'm just disputing. Oh, okay. So no, you're right. Okay, fine. Secondary tagline to the Church of Chonkwij: we do not support the wearing of pants, and everyone deserves cuddles.
It's true.
This is good. This is wholesome. We have a wholesome thing going. Speaking of wholesome, the lead developer of Project CD Red's retiring.
Retiring?
Well, okay, so officially the lead gameplay designer, Andrzej Zadłowski, I believe, is leaving CD Projekt Red. He's a lead gameplay designer, but he is on his LinkedIn profile, I guess, says that he's been a junior designer, or joined as a junior designer in 2016 and has been working there for 8 years. That math does not add up.
No, it does not.
After almost 8 years, my time at CD Projekt Red has come to an end. It's time for a new adventure. To every person that I met along the way, thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure to see you around. That was the tweet that he put up.
I have a feeling he's counting his time as an intern.
Well, he says he was a QA tester. He was a QA tester, and then in 2016, he was given the role of junior gameplay designer.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then he became senior designer in March 2020. So the 8 years probably goes back into his QA tester days.
The article, and this is a thing that we have covered. There were death threats that were circulating through the CD Projekt CD Projekt Red ranks after Cyberpunk 2077 sort of went to shit, and even before that. But the article here is speculating that hostile work environment might be responsible for people maybe seeking employment elsewhere, just saying, you know what, we spent our time here, we tried, it's time for something new. So I don't think he gave an official reason that I can see, or that's on his Twitter. I don't know where else I would look for it. I'm that pathetic.
No, honestly, this very much seems like the reason is boils down to, you know what, fuck this, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess that too, especially after some of the development stories that came out about Cyberpunk 2077. With basically the original development team for Cyberpunk 2077 does not work at CD Projekt Red anymore. They spent 4 or 5 years at the company and then were, let go or phased out or quit or transferred for one reason or another. And the speculated reason that Cyberpunk 2077 was the mess that it was is because of this very typical development cycle where it takes 8-10 years to do something, and by the time you're done, none of the original team exist, and the original team are the ones who understand the code best. So yeah, I agree with you, Omega. That would be my guess as well.
My favorite thing about that GIF, Masami, is that even though it's sugar glass,
Mm-hmm.
the way that he rotates, you can tell that he's clearly smacking the solid like window frame, and that hurt like shit.
Oh god, yeah, it's the fuck this shit, I'm out gif. We got to figure out a way to put the Discord into the stream, because sometimes
either that, or at the very least, I need to start just pulling up Tenor and then sending Zero the link to the GIF I'm posting, and then he can somehow put it on his screen. I don't know how that magic happens.
Zero can just click the image and hit Open Original, and it'll open it on his website on the web browser.
There you go.
See, live IT assistance midstream.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on?
TV producer.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all the news that we have for that. He's written, oh, no, wait, something's happening. There it is. There it is. Oh, God, look at that.
God.
I liked that one because even though this developer left, there's going to be some sort of bump or bruise or whatever that he's going to take on his way out. So that's kind of why I liked that one versus some of the other ones I saw.
Yeah.
There's really good options on the sidebar there.
Okay, all right. So
it's just entrancing.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna. This could evolve really fast into us just searching Tenor or Giphy or whatever, and just looking at fascinating GIFs, because there are a lot of very entertaining GIFs out there. Of course, there are. It's the internet. Getting along with Cyberpunk 2070.
Yeah, try to rate it. I just do want to say though, like, I also wonder how much this guy's the head of development, like the senior gameplay developer or whatever,
lead game developer. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, if there was a time for him to bow out, this is probably it, because from here on out, they're fixing things and bringing elements of the game that were not up to the standards that they should be up to those standards. So, one could think that his job is done in the designing of it and setting the framework, and now he could probably feel a little more comfortable walking away knowing that, at least from here on out, like, he did his job. He designed the game. Whether or not the company gave him the resources, the time, the tools to bring it all to fruition, I don't necessarily see him leaving as indicative of anything beyond just him personally being tired of everything, I guess, is kind of the vibe that I feel about it. I don't see this as some, like, huge negative, oh no, what's happening? This guy's falling again at CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, like, it would have been more impactful if, say, he would have left right when, everything was blowing up when the game came out. So,
or right before release.
Yeah, if he resigned, like, 2 months before launch or release date, that would have been something.
Or even soon after, when all the hullabaloo was going around.
Yeah, that would have been a rat sinking a fleeting ship. This is somebody hopping off as it limps into port.
Yeah, this is a little bit more graceful.
I'm sure if he is leaving for the reasons that we're guessing on, I'm sure that it occurred to him before launch to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm surprised there wasn't a larger exodus
that
we didn't hear about, considering all the stories were basically that, like, the developers were feeling so betrayed by the company and everything, and how they felt so forced into churning out a bad product. I'm surprised there weren't more people just leaving. But, I'm sure CD Projekt Red was dangling massive bonuses and financial incentives over their heads, so can't really blame them.
I think some of their chief executive officers were making videos of themselves naked on bearskin rugs in front of fires saying, "We're sorry."
Wow.
Speaking of naked in front of bearskin rugs, Cyberpunk 2077, as Omega just said, they're fixing things that are not up to par right now. So their next patch is going to slow police response and let you remap dodge. So
nice.
you couldn't remap the dodge key. There are some things in that game that you just cannot remap the keys for, and so that dodge is getting fixed. And the other thing was, there's a video down below the opening text crawl of this article. Zero decided to test how bad cop spawning issue is.
Oh yes,
that's pretty much a solid example of how the police spawning in the game right now just doesn't make any fucking sense. Even in GTA.
It spawns faster than GTA. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even in GTA, if you get on top of a building and you start, like, shooting down into crowds of people and you attract the police don't spawn behind you. They drive in their police cars and they run around the street trying to figure out how to get up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it's stupid. They have stupid AI and you can have a lot of fun with that, but yeah. So,
I mean, if anything, the police AI was almost too good, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's
for anyone listening who isn't actually, like, watching this right now, this guy who decided to test this is on top of a roof. He's completely alone on the roof. It looks very difficult to get up there at all, and he just fires a couple bullets down onto the street. He attracts police attention. The police immediately spawn right behind him. Somehow they spawned onto the roof instantly. So, yeah, teleportation, not an advertised feature in CD Projekt or Cyberpunk 2077, but it apparently exists, and the patch is supposed to address that.
That's pretty ridiculous, and good that they're fixing it, but I think, if you indulge me a moment to go on a bit of a rant here, the fact that they had a key binding that was unchangeable is unacceptable in this day and age. And
would you like to go into some detail about why you feel so strongly about that?
I have come across a number of games that have had unrebindable controls that I have just straight up returned because I'm fucking left-handed and I have to rebind every single control of every single game that I play. And I've developed pretty much my own sort of control scheme on the other side of the keyboard. And every single time I play a new game, I have to spend the first half hour to 45 minutes just looking at all the key bindings and changing things over and figuring out the scheme that's going to work for me. And if a game has a key binding that you cannot change, it is instantly unplayable for me.
But Omega, why don't you just shove your keyboard further to the right?
I love how he
And
doesn't even dignify that with an answer. It's amazing.
And it was in this moment that Doc died.
No, I know it's a bullshit thing. It's been brought up before. I've read some shit like that when we were, because Omega did have to rebind the keys for all the Halo games that we played, and he didn't have to do it just once. He had to do it for each individual Halo game, which to me is again a little bit of bullshit.
It's so hilarious. If in the Master Chief Collection, there's a different control settings for each of the 4 different Halo games. You have to go into. It's so ridiculous. There's no overlap.
That's crazy.
So every time when Doc and I played through the whole series, every time started a new game, I had to spend, by that point I knew most of them pretty well, so I got it down to maybe like 10, 15 minutes. But Jesus, like when I started playing Red Dead, even going back years to GTA, like Rockstar has a fucking insane amount of key binding. Pages and pages and pages and pages of key binding. And if you just learn to play the game by seeing what the button prompts are when you're right-handed and you play WASD, you don't even realize, because like the same button that you use to do 5 different things in Red Dead is on 5. It's bound 5 separate times to 5 separate actions on 5 different pages, depending on whether it's combat or menu or social interaction or whatever the context is. And it's absurd how long it takes to go through and fix that shit. And honestly, it pisses me off. If there was ever one thing I would actually advocate for and like organize for and try to like cause change for, it would be to start a campaign to require by law that video game companies have to ship games with an alternate left-handed control binding scheme, because that's like 10 to 12% of the population, depending on who you're measuring. And it's just fucking ridiculous when you've got games shipping with like impossible to decipher key bindings and bindings that you can't even rebind. That's just fucking ridiculous.
It's 2021, people.
Well, like, at what point does that become discrimination?
I mean,
there's actually a really long and storied history of discrimination against left-handed people in the world.
I mean,
like,
if we are being 100% honest, my sister is left-handed, and my grandfather attempted to force my sister to play golf right-handed, and my mother literally went up to him and said, if you force her to play right-handed and you do not get her a left-handed set of golf clubs, she will never play golf.
Well, I mean, and there are plenty of recorded histories of school teachers and whatnot, like beating kids and slapping their left hand with rulers when they try to write with it and shit like that.
Wait, wasn't that Catholic school?
Yeah, it's got a lot of religious connection. But in America, as Masami just said, in America there was a time period where everything was religious.
I mean, for fuck's sake, they didn't have left-handed scissors for fuck all ever.
I mean, and the left-handed scissors that are out there, well,
are crap.
Nowadays, there are good left-handed scissors. I actually have a good pair of left-handed scissors, but you want to know what's fucking hilarious? Is I've lived my whole life using right-handed scissors, and there's a certain way that I have to hold my hand that puts pressure against the blades in a certain way, so because like it's actually different if you use them in the wrong hand, the blades will separate.
Yeah.
So I have to hold my hand at this like weird sort of shape, but I've adapted to doing this over my entire life, and I got this pair of left-handed scissors, and I don't know how to fucking hold them like normal scissors.
Yeah, that makes sense, sadly.
I know this is a thing in your life, and it is actually a valid talking point and everything, but the only thing that goes through my head is the plight of the first world people.
Dude, it's like bottle caps spin differently for me than they do for you. The direction that light bulbs and bottles cap, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, is designed to be more ergonomically comfortable for a right-handed person.
Yep.
Twisting doorknobs.
God, I've been working on vehicles pretty much my entire adult life and never realized the pain that left-handed people must go through when changing certain car parts out.
I mean, it's like I said, it's something that I've definitely adapted to, but it is a different process, and it's not designed for me to do a lot of things. Hell, like cooking spoons, curved cooking spoons are designed to be used in the right hand. They don't hit the bottom of the pan in the right way if you use them with your left hand. There's all kinds of shit. I could go on for a while. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Am I a fucking weirdo or something? I don't have a problem with using, because I do. Okay, so we have screen doors on my house, or they are screen doors, but you can take the screens out of them and put glass in, which is what we do in the winter, so that obviously we don't freeze to death when we, all the rest of that.
I would assume so.
Certain angles for the screws to take the screen doors off, I can't get at with my right hand, because I live in an old house. It's before any sort of standard about which way a door should swing, or if a door should swing in or out of a house. It was just sort of made. So I do use my left hand to unscrew things at least like once a year. I've never noticed like a difficulty before. And screwing in light bulbs is the same way, because usually I steady myself with my right hand and I do it with my left hand, just in the hallway where the light is up like real super high.
Well, all right, to like really get dirty about it, and we could definitely get off this topic. But like, imagine holding a screwdriver and you're screwing something in, and that is usually the harder direction to screw something. The direction that takes more effort to screw something in, and you're spinning it right in the right direction, righty-tighty. So
towards
your
you.
right hand, you're holding the screwdriver, you're torquing your wrist forward, like over forwards. That is the stronger direction that your wrist goes. For a left-handed person holding a screwdriver, if I am screwing something in righty, I am turning my wrist inwards, which is the weaker direction of turn.
Interesting.
All right. Anyway, the plight of left-handed people in Cyberpunk 2077 is slowly coming to a close.
Excellent.
I've seriously had the stoned thought of like, maybe I should start like a lobbying group campaign and just start getting donations from left-handed gamers who are pissed off. And like, we'll start lobbying for laws to be protected class, that no discrimination in video games against left-handed players.
I mean,
zero.
I mean,
binding
technically, you would be considered a minority.
I mean, Zero, you want to get your Twitch channel banned?
God, please let's not.
Left lives matter.
Oh God.
Yeah. No, I could totally see this going well.
Oh God. Oh God. My asshole just puckered. Oh God.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't be the first time on this channel.
Oh God.
Won't be the last.
Oh, it's been nice.
Oh God! All right, yeah. Speaking of horrible discrimination, Microsoft has officially renamed Xbox Live to the Xbox Network. Why is this? Why is this a big deal?
It's a big deal because Xbox Live has been the name of the service from day one. Like, Xbox 2 launches and you play online with Xbox Live. That's what it was. I was playing Xbox Live on Halo 2. I was playing Halo 2 on Xbox Live on launch day for Halo 2. Like, that is Xbox's online gaming service.
So I'll say I don't really care about the name change or the branding. I'm sure that there is some business decision behind this, or beyond rebranding. But I will say that Xbox Live rolls off the tongue, just like PSN rolls off the tongue. XBN, Xbox Network, that doesn't really work.
And like, why are you trying to be more like Sony? They got the PlayStation Network. Let them have the network. Why are we going to Xbox Network? That to me just sounds like copycatish. And I feel like Microsoft would be better than that, or they would at least, like, somebody in their marketing department would be like, hey, doesn't that sound a little copycatish to like PlayStation Network? And then some other guy was like, yeah, you're right. I can't believe we were going to actually do this. And that would have been the end of it. But no, it got through like however many layers of approval that they end up churning out this name that just sounds like they're trying to rip off PlayStation. What the fuck?
Is this a result of people sitting in a marketing board just goes into Microsoft and is just like, yeah, okay, it's time for a name change. It's time to revitalize this property.
Honestly,
so we're gonna.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there. This really just stinks of some executive got it in their head that, oh, this sounds better. We should do this. And everyone else were like, we doesn't really. Okay.
And everyone else
whatever.
is just like, everyone else is just like, okay, I guess we have things to do. Can we go now?
Yeah, pretty much. So no one really fought him either from lack of wanting to try or not wanting to jeopardize one's paycheck.
You know what? And I bet the guy who came up with this idea's name is something like Glenn or Ted. Some weak ass fucking name, because there isn't a guy named Steve that came up with this idea.
All right, so
Steve's the guy who gets past promotions.
Ow.
Sorry.
Apparently, deep in the article, it says that so Xbox Live Gold is still going to be like the subscription pass you have to pay to access the online network, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will also include Xbox Network. But what exactly, like, this totally feels like somebody who felt like they needed to justify their job by making someone change something.
Yep.
As long as we're on this topic, Sarah, can you scroll back up to that video that was up top? Is there any way that you can play the video of Jim Carrey crawling out of that rhino's ass?
Oh my God, can I?
See, that's the problem.
Just be great.
That's the problem with positions like that. And like, as a writer, I've dealt with editors who change things to justify their work. Like, their job is to be an editor of what I write for it is put into a script. So, but they can't just like pass on something. They can't just pass it. They can't just let it go unchanged. They have to change it somehow so that they can justify their paycheck. And I know this for a fact because on one day I had to write the same story twice for two different shows, and I wrote it the first time for the first hour of news, and the copy editor made some changes. I basically copied it with those changes into the next script for like 3 hours later, and the copy editor for that hour changed it to more or less what I had written the first time before the first person changed it. And a lot of the shit that copy editors do, it's like they just change word orders or the way you might structure a sentence and stuff like that. Yeah. And they say it's for like readability and speakability and conversational tone and blah blah blah. It's bullshit. They're just doing it to justify their existence. Just like in this, there's some fucking mid-level executive who is like, it's been a while since there's been something with my name stamped on it. So I'm going to start this campaign and, build some momentum among the office that we need to change this, the name to Xbox Network.
Remember me? I work here.
Yeah. And I apologize to our viewership whose name happens to be Glenn or
Ted.
Ted. I was going
to say, what the fuck you got against Glenn?
Glenn
just a solid guy. He's not the guy that you invite to your barbecue, and you definitely don't want to leave him alone with your kids. But he's apart from that, he's fine.
That was I listened to George Carlin the other day, and he had an entire bit on names. about how kids nowadays have weak ass fucking names.
He wasn't around for kids being named Blanket and Apple and Bookcase.
Listen, like, you can't really talk shit about names, though, because they've always been weak-ass names. Like, Yancey was a name. That's a weak-ass name.
Beatrice. I've never really been. I've always been confused. I know it's not a name that's used anymore, but Bertha. I had like way down my family tree. I believe I had a cousin or someone called Bertha, and the name was appropriate because the photographs of her are she was thick, but other
And not
when
with two C's.
whenever like a name like that comes up, especially an antiquated name, there's an image of that person in my mind, and if the physical appearance of the person does not conform to the name, I get confused. Like, why did your parents name you that? Did they think that you were going to grow up to be a beluga whale, or did they not
Jeez.
realize? Look, there's nothing wrong with beluga whales. They're delicious. I'm just saying. How do you get there? Like naming your how does that get to be a popular name?
So
I mean, obviously it doesn't stay popular because it's dead now, but at one point it was.
Well, and I know that there were a couple of my friends who I actually have a couple of friends named Bert, and their parents were deadheads. And one of the images that is used by the Grateful Dead, the skeleton with the rose hair, the name of that particular piece of artwork is Bertha. So their parents used that, but that's obscure and have to tell that entire story each time somebody asks you about your name.
You know, I'm not in favor of government regulation of who can and cannot have children. I quickly think that's a barbaric and totalitarian.
Sounds like you're about
to.
ready to. It sounds like you're about ready to say that this is a good idea.
But who was? I can't remember who that was. It was either a writer or a politician sometime in the 1970s who wrote down everything that a person says before the word "but" is meaningless.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's true.
That sticks with me. So anyway,
wait, hang on a second. We are 40 minutes and 12 seconds in, and Doc has just made another unknown Letterkenny reference.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. What'd I do this time?
The whole everything before the word but.
Yeah. Okay, that's not. But they're just referencing. They probably reference the same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Something like that. That's not like a direct a ripoff that Letterkenny stole from me. Because that's how this works.
But the way you talked about Glenn was exactly how I would describe Glenn in that show. So
yep.
No way.
Wayne.
He's a solid guy when he's sober. Yeah. Oh god. All right. So yeah, Xbox Live is now called Xbox Network. I'm not saying that's a bad decision, but there it is. And the next thing that we can move on to would be the cult classic Shin Megami Tensei. Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei remaster will arrive this May. It's a remaster of a pretty old video game that none of us care about. So moving on, Warframe apparently had a tabletop RPG in the works. And who would like to talk about why it's not anymore?
No, to be clear, it wasn't Warframe.
It wasn't official.
Warframe inspired. I'm sorry.
This was a fan-made project that was inspired by Warframe by a guy who's a Warframe fan and wanted to make a tabletop RPG-inspired game. And it was called Frame. And he started Kickstarter, and he got some positive feedback on the Warframe subreddit. But then when his Kickstarter launched, he got apparently a lot of what he said were very toxic and hateful comments, and people like shitting all over him and whatnot. It seems like he may just be a bit of a super sensitive snowflake who couldn't handle criticism or people not just agreeing with him, but it just also is an interesting example of how the Warframe community can be very a lot.
And very extra.
It's it is a very toxic, shitty community.
The Warframe community that I know is great, but that's just because I stay in my fucking lane.
Yeah, exactly.
mean,
That's
yeah.
because we don't. Yeah, I'm not in region chat. I'm not in public chat. I don't interact with anyone in that game apart from the people that I know in real life who I play with. That's it.
I mean, even when I went to go clan searching, like back in the day before, that mythical time period before I knew you guys, like I did not go into region chat or any of the actual chats in game that are made for that express purposes because I played WoW and I know that's a dumb fucking idea. Not to say that Googling on the internet does any better, but at least it got me to forum posts that I could like analyze, overthink about for 24 to 48 hours, and then finally reach out.
And that's
And here
fine.
I
Yeah,
am.
that's in my opinion, that's a smart thing to do. Do your research before then. You don't need people yelling in your face telling you what the research should be. You just go and do it on your own. If you have questions, then pop a question. If people are toxic, then you have the answer to your question.
Pretty much.
Um,
And as a female on the internet, that's a real fucking razor wire line.
I don't fucking doubt it at all. Essentially what this guy wanted to do is he wanted to create a tabletop RPG, which was Warframe inspired, but it didn't really have anything to do with the Warframe or DE's property. But obviously the internet is full of highly intellectual people who, once he launched his Kickstarter, started insisting that he was stealing or that he was ripping off DE in some way. And Omega said criticism. Yeah, of course you're going to get criticism, stuff like that. But some of what is cited in this article is more akin to just trolling. Saying you're fucked is not criticism. That's just you being an ass.
I mean,
you're going to...
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, if I was him, I would have spent like maybe a couple $100, maybe a bit more with an actual copyright lawyer who knows Canadian law and US law and how that fucking interacts, just to go, hey, I'm not crossing any lines. And then he could have had a spine against some of this toxicity shit.
It would have been a good idea for him to consult a lawyer, and the lawyer would have reinforced what this article already says, which is derivative work from any copyrighted work is protected under current American intellectual property law. So,
yeah, it's not a direct derivative because it's not actually called Warframe. It's not using any of that actual intellectual property. But if you look at the art, it's pretty. It's like. So heavily inspired that it's bordering on copycat. The plot, the lore elements of it are all pretty much direct lifts from Warframe lore and story and stuff like that. So it is an interesting, it's kind of an edge case.
I mean, honestly, I was kind of looking forward to see if he could actually make their fucking story make sense.
Well, it's interesting. Apparently, this guy made a tabletop RPG about, based on Destiny, and this was a second one that he wanted to do, and it seems like he didn't face nearly the opposition from the Destiny community that he did from the Warframe community.
It's because the Destiny community is nothing but a bunch of... Never mind. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to say a word.
Okay, no. Better or worse than the Warframe community?
Oh, worse. Worse.
That's...
I don't know. He doesn't know the Warframe community.
I don't know them as well as I know the Destiny community, but I can tell you that the only community that rivals the Destiny community in my mind is the Mythic raiding community in WoW.
Yep. I can see that.
And that is just because I literally tried to get into a BOE farm Mythic the other night and was told, you're not fucking good enough. Come back when you've got gear. And my character was well above the required mark to get in. And they were like, just get good, scrub. And I'm like, what? Okay. Have a nice night, dick.
Honestly,
Yeah,
the last
the like hardcore raiding community, as I would call it, in WoW has not ever really changed. Like every time I kind of vaguely get my toe back into the water, I hear about it. I'm like, nope, we're good.
shortly, it must have been over a year now. Shortly before I just permanently stopped playing in public groups in Warframe, I'm pretty sure, I think Omega was there for this too. We were doing a defense on one of the old defense maps, Corpus or something, and there was a Brazilian kid in the crew with us, and the only time that he spoke, the only reason that I know he was Brazilian is he used some Brazilian slang that was just like laughing my ass off because you're so bad. And I didn't know what it meant, so I Googled it later. But that's the last time I encountered a toxic player in Warframe. And since I stopped playing with pubs, I gotta say that the perception of toxicity has gone way down.
I'll be honest, like I have not had a huge trouble with pubs in Warframe, but then again, like 99% of the time, most of them say nothing. So, and I turned in-game chat, in-game voice chat off.
I just love my logic.
They're saying shit. Yeah.
my logic was, yeah, this thing definitely existed, but I don't pay attention to it anymore, so I don't think it does exist.
I will say that yesterday I ended up doing a Stefano relic survival run, public, and all four of us were level a level 30. It was actually a 30, a 29, 28, and a 27, and like it was so much fun. It was such a breeze. I was a Speedva. There was like an Avara and a Zephyr. The new Zephyr does a lot of damage, by the way. And something else. And we were, nobody was being obnoxious. No one was saying anything. It was like no one had any reason to say anything in chat. Everybody knew how to play, knew what to do. Everybody was working together. It was a nice moment of
Zen.
Yeah, it was like a nice moment of zen playing with people who weren't dumb.
I will admit that most of my negative experiences come from working with people that are like rank about 17 and below. Like I've somewhere in that 17 to 19 range. I feel like people somehow get the clue or get good.
It's also people below that though. There was one time Doc and I did a Stefano run with two people who were like single digit MRs, and we took them through like 40 rounds, and it was hilarious.
That's right. Yeah, the big map.
I actually have a distinct memory of when Doc and I were first starting playing, and him and I we were just starting to do the relic missions, and I don't know if you remember this. It was a defense mission on that Jupiter exterior map that doesn't exist anymore. And there was a Saren there, and that was the first time I had ever experienced a Warframe just wiping entire waves at once. And like this was like the first time we had ever done anything, I think, other than a Lith. It was like a Neo or a Mezzo, and it was just like, holy shit, that's what you can do in this game. And remembering what that was like, seeing that now, every once in a while I enjoy it when I get like a low level person and I can take them on a long run in a endless mission.
We are eventually going to segue into more Warframe here because there was a big update that dropped last week. But now
on a Friday of all things.
Yeah, it was. So it was a fun glitch weekend. Now that I'm MR 29 and I'm a sliver away from 30, I need like 2 more Kuva weapons and I'm there. Now that I'm at that level, I have become actively concerned because Omega and I have also been in public groups with MR when MR 28 was the max. We've been in groups like that where people who have an extremely high mastery rank are not playing conducively to a group. They're sort of doing their own thing, or they're idling, or they're MR, they're high MR. they've been playing the game obviously for a long time. They have a lot of gear under their belt. They should know how to play the game with other players. So now that I'm in that situation, if I go into the only time when I'm really in a pub anymore is if I do Sanctuary Onslaught because I need to level something. When I go into a situation like that, I am actively, I'm a little paranoid actually that there's this expectation that I'm going to help the group or I'm going to be a an exceptional player or something like that, and it's a little nerve wracking. But I would rather be on my toes, trying to be a good co-op player than just being a selfish asshole or acting like some of the people that I've seen in the community in the past. So
Yeah.
that's my group therapy contribution to this.
The only time I really do pubs is Sanctuary as well. And I mean, I go in with a kill frame to get affinity, and I really don't care about the other people. I just use them there to up the enemy spawns. And they're free to reach XP for me, and if they don't want to do that, they're free to leave as well. And that's okay. So
see, for me, I'm leveling weapons because I don't have any more frames to level up. So I'm leveling weapons, and so I'll go in as support frame, usually Trinity. I'll give people as much free energy as they want, and usually it works out, but I try to be on top of that game. If I'm not Trinity, then I'm Roar Rhino.
Yeah. The Trinity's always welcome if you got someone in there with a Warframe that is energy hungry. But yeah, other than that, the only time I ever do pub missions is relic runs so that you can get more people, more chances at good relics. But yeah, let's talk about the new update. There's like a massive additional update to Railjack, which is like the big spaceships that you can fly around in, and not just new content, but also a total rework of the whole system.
Yeah, I managed to rank up to MR23 just by redoing my intrinsics, apparently.
Yeah, there's actually something about that, the way that they've calculated ranking up your Railjack. If you get your, what's it called now? It's not a plexus. If you rank your plexus, which is basically, it's a warframe. Pretend that your warframe is a spaceship now.
No, I like that it's something that you use to control your Railjack, but you have to hold it up your butt when you're on the Railjack pilot.
That makes sense, actually. Canonically, that makes sense. But if you rank your plexus up to 30, it ends up giving you something like 75,000 affinity, which is significant.
But hey, guess what? You can then forma your plexus.
Yep.
To increase the mod capacity on your Railjack.
Yeah, and if you had a pretty heavy intrinsic, or what the fuck were they called? They weren't not intrinsic. Avionics, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
This is the second time I've made this joke, but the dead term now that I've completely dismissed from my mind, and I can't remember it anymore. Avionics do not exist anymore. They've all been replaced with mods, and the mods go into the plexus, which is, again, it's just like a warframe, so it's just like modding a warframe. They said in the release notes that doing this and putting an aura onto your warframe Railjack is, it's ultimately going to give you more capacity, and it's going to be easier to fit all the mods that you want on there and everything. Horse fucking shit. Omega and I both discovered I'm MR29. My plexus was at 0. I had something like 66 total mod capacity, or 67 with an aura slapped on there. Aura is not polarized, so 67 could get bumped up to 74. And that would be pretty standard for melee weapons and warframes because they have the auras on them. Your old intrinsics or your old avionics used to go up to 100. It's not more.
But they did change the draw, like the power draw from them, though, I will say. And also
they added levels. I'm going to get to that because there is a new feature where you put on your battle tactics and you put on your offensive and your defensive mods are completely separate from the plexus. So you have 3 offensive and 3 defensive that you can put in these slots. Those used to cost avionics. They don't anymore. They are actually free, so you can put them on, you can slap them on, you don't have to worry about it. However, the most that an avionic used to be ranked up was, I believe, 8 or 9. and then you could add levels on top of that by putting them into a slot that had been formatted, and that's how avionics used to work. That doesn't work anymore, and they upped a significant number of these avionics to 10, which is why when they gave me back 100,000 endo, it took me approximately 2 minutes to spend all of that, because I'm putting mods on my Railjack now that are go up to rank 10 as opposed to rank 6.
And
So,
the legendary core.
oh yeah, that's right. They gave us a legendary core too.
Because they're so
Yeah,
benevolent.
actually, worth mentioning. The legendary core prices on the Warframe markets have gone down. They're 95 plat now. They're sub 100 again. So, if you're doing what I do and you invest in legendary cores for where the price jacks up, now's a good time to buy. The good, the bad, and the ugly of the new update.
It's like the lamest cryptocurrency ever.
I know, it really is.
I keep seeing ads on Facebook saying that different marketing app or different like stock apps have added Dogecoin, and I'm just so damn amused. I'm like, you all know what that is, right? I mean, like, really?
You know, this is a joke, right?
People love memes.
Clearly.
Memes are the
Sure.
currency of the future.
I do love memes. Star Trek did a whole episode about that.
But yeah, so there's also the fact that there's now Corpus Railjack enemies and Corpus Railjack missions, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, I'm kind of torn on how I feel about the fact that we now basically do like a mini Railjack mission before jumping into like a mini normal mission.
Right. So the good and
the Grenier worlds of like you're in the Railjack, you're doing a mission in the Railjack, the whole thing's on your Railjack. You might have to hop off and go do a quick thing, but it's not like a normal mission. It's not just doing the same thing that you do everywhere else on the star chart. Versus now you fly around on the Railjack and kind of do the same thing on every single mission before hopping into one of a few different mission types, whether it's defense, extermination. It's cool that they threw Orphix in there. I like the what's the new one? Volatile. Is that the new game?
Yeah,
that one's kind of neat just because it's a new gameplay, which is always fun. But why isn't there a defense mode where we have to defend something with our Railjack? Why isn't there a survival mode where we just have to survive for 20 minutes of wave after incoming wave, or like an endless survival mode? Fuck that! An endless survival mode of wave after incoming wave of Railjack enemies, where we're in our guns, and you get a 4-person team, and you fucking go nuts with it. That would be amazing. That would be so much fun. Why don't they do that?
That would, an endless survival in Railjack. That would actually give me some incentive to specialize my loadout to have like particular thing. In that case, I would totally equip Battleforge. That would be fucking important.
That would be like super like Star Trek vibes of like facing hordes, like the horde of like the Borg or the Klingons and like the big massive battles where you're just like continually bombarded, just trying to survive and outlast. Like I like that idea much more than the new Corpus Railjack, which is here's a wave of 4 enemies, kill them. Oh, here's another wave of 4 enemies, killed them. Oh, we're here at the base, hop out. Oh, we got to do a survival mission for 5 minutes. Okay, we're done. Like that gameplay loop is kind of, it's cool. Yeah. There's potential there, but they need to do something a little better with it. I think they're leaving a lot on the table, and I almost feel like they're kind of lazy with the way.
It's funny that you say Star Trek in there because I'm picturing the battle at Wolf 359, except for we're the Borg and the hordes are the Starfleet ships trying to prevent us from getting to a planet.
Yeah, kind of.
So okay, the good is that there are 3 new planets to go to on your Railjack. They are Corpus. Omega and I observed that they're pretty. If anything else, art direction in Warframe is always very pretty.
Haven't seen the tier 3 one yet. I don't think we've made it there, but the middle one, which I think was Neptune.
Neptune was the ice mines that we were admiring.
Fucking beautiful. Oh my god, the art. We've said this before a million times. The art direction of Warframe and Digital Extremes is like miles ahead of the game design.
Yes.
Of Warframe and Digital Extremes. That is a beautiful fucking game, and it's like, what the fuck is Steve doing with the design?
So very pretty, and as Omega mentioned, there is a new game, a game mode or a game type called Volatile, where you basically you have a meter and heat is rising, and the bar will get into this special area, and then you have to blow conduits up to sort of keep it in that area so that a hack can go on. It's capture the flag, but very specific circumstances. That's neat. It's nice to see a new game mode like that. So I know that's another good thing that came out. And another good thing was that the command intrinsics were unlocked, and we have AI crew members now, and they are not useless. The gunners are actually pretty great, and the engineers are uh, fantastic. They actually know what they're doing. If there's a fire on your ship, you get the notification for the fire. I shit you not, about 10 to 15 seconds later, AI crew member has gotten there, taken care of it, and it's done. Even if it's a hull breach, they get there, they take care of it. It's done.
They don't build stuff though.
They do not build. Wait, did they? They might not build stuff. There was that one time I was confused because suddenly I had a whole bunch of flux energy, and I didn't know if you did that or the engineer did that.
It might need to be something you unlock on the engineering tree. I don't know. It might be something unlockable through intrinsics.
Yeah, I know exactly why they did that, because the engineering intrinsic has a specific path to where you can make dome charges, you can make flux. It's all a progression up the engineering track thing. So I can see why they weren't just gonna let an NPC do it for free. You have to invest into it.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, but here I have command intrinsics. Not they reset all our intrinsics, by the way,
Yeah.
so I had to rebuild all my trees. But I have command intrinsics 9, and I have engineering 9. So I've unlocked all that shit. Why can't my engineer take advantage of that? Especially because my engineer is maxed out in that stat.
You know, I think your engineering is maxed out. I think what it means is that you could do it from the tactical screen.
Shit, yeah, I should probably get better at playing Railjack if I'm going to do it.
That might be what that means. I think that was one of the changes that I saw. I don't know. Yeah, we need to get better at it. We need to play that some more. I actually did enjoy it. Like I've said before, like my time with Warframe, I'm at a point now where I play it only new content drops. Well, here's a new content drop, and I'm kind of into it. So I'll be playing that a bit more in coming week or two before I get bored with it and move on again. But it's pretty neat. I'm enjoying it. I think Railjack is a cool concept at its core that they need to get better at executing. And I think this is a step in the right direction. I hope that they keep improving it and growing upon it, and not just being like, okay, here we go, we're done. Like, we need more, we need better, we need the Railjacks themselves to feel important, because that's the biggest problem, is they still don't feel important because all the objectives that we have to go do now are things we have to leave the Railjack for. Like, that's why I want the Railjack survival. That's why I want the Railjack defense, or whatever. Like, give me that. So I'm hoping for more.
So tangential to what you were just talking about, we went over some of the good. Now the bad. And the first thing that I would bring up is that this update is buggy as fuck.
It is so broken.
Is it as buggy as the first time Railjack when it first launched?
It's more buggy because it extends outside of Railjack. They broke things in other game modes as well. And Omega, we were playing together and we were clearing Steel Path dailies. And you know that after we did a couple of missions, 2 missions in a row that we did, I had a problem where I was hanging in the mission complete screen. I couldn't do anything. I had to Alt F4 out and come back in game.
Black screen.
Yeah.
Another thing I've had happen is on the mission complete screen, my frame rate goes down to 1 frame per second. But it's not just like the game is passing through at a normal speed. Like, literally, I'm watching the mission complete screen appear at it moves 1 frame per second, and it takes like a minute for it to appear before I get and also just in general, in the past week since, or however long since the update, I have gotten more server disconnects than I have gotten in the entire time that I have ever played Warframe. And it's come in menus, it's come when I'm in my orbiter, it's come when I've been in Railjack, when I've finished missions, at any time. Just server not responding, kicks me back, and logs me out, and I have to sign back in. And that has happened at least a dozen times. And that was literally never an issue except for when my internet was fucking up. And, I've had that happen, but this was not that. This new update is just so fucking buggy and broken that they need to fix a lot of bullshit.
This by no means this is the only problem that the update has, but in getting back to hanging in mission complete screens, Omega, you'll remember that we did a mission, and at the end of that mission, when we went on to another one, or maybe we were trying to go back to the dojo, we were hanging in the mission complete screen on our railjack, and we couldn't do anything. I got to talking to some people on Reddit, and I didn't put this together until I was talking to other people who were experiencing the same problem. The thing that all three of those instances had in common was that we had just completed a defense mission. We completed 2 steel path defenses in a row, and I got fucked. We completed a railjack defense mission and tried to leave, and I got fucked. I was not the host this whole time. Omega was hosting. I'm pretty sure that they broke the defense mode in this update.
Oh my god.
Because a lot of people were reporting basically the same thing, and the only thing that kept on coming up was we were in a defense mission.
I've also, in general, I was dicking around for a couple hours doing just night waves and like going fishing here and mining on this open world, shit like that. Frame rates are bad and jittery everywhere on the open worlds again, and that's something that's come and gone with this game. Like some new bit of code breaks some optimization, and they have to, and then the open worlds get all fucking laggy and frame drops and shit. And this game is getting firmly into the realm of irreparable spaghetti code.
Yeah, we were talking. I mean, we spoke about this earlier in the podcast with Cyberpunk 2077, of the long drawn out development process where the original developers are gone. The original developers, Warframe and DE, are not all gone. Obviously, Scott is still there, and some of the team that come onto the dev streams every now and again. But Omega and I did talk about that as well, and I agree. We're getting to the point where Warframe has been in development for 8 years now, and there are I don't know enough about it to make a definitive statement, but I'd guess that there aren't enough people there who were there originally anymore to have a comprehensive understanding of the code and to be able to take all these updates and implement them into the code which they understand. So they must be bringing on new people because they're a company, they're expanding. They must be bringing on new coders. They must be trying to teach these coders, okay, this is what the code looks like, and we're developing updates, so you need to be able to put the updates into this without breaking anything. And those people are doing their damnedest to learn as much as they can, but your spaghetti code is the exact right term. We're getting into that area. The longer development goes on to a game, the more difficult it becomes to implement new material because it's just too much too drawn out.
What I think they need to do, and it's going to happen sooner or later. There's going to need to be a Warframe 2, and I don't necessarily think it'll be a sequel in the sense that we're used to. I think almost what they should do is more of a Warframe 2.0, where they stop development on Warframe and adding new things, and they basically rebuild from scratch using the current finished product of Warframe as the end goal that they're going to get to of a single unified product. And basically rebuild the game from scratch in a new engine, in a modern engine, and rewrite all the systems so that they're intended to work together from the start rather than trying to hack and slash and patch different new ideas together with old existing ideas, and like actually take a moment and look at all the things in Warframe, figure out how you want them to work together at a core level, and just rebuild the game, and just have a frank discussion with the community and just be like, listen guys, this beast is getting out of control, and we need to do this. And they just basically start over. And
You can imagine what kind of a shitstorm that would start up in the community. Despite all the people right now that are telling DE to stop releasing new content and fix your current content.
Well, it would absolutely need to include continued support for existing Warframe for the duration. And that would include things like continuing events. Like, they wouldn't need to continue. I would say stop making things like Warframes and shit like that. But basically, like, what you would then do is you would just keep a maintenance schedule of events. Like, here comes Orphix Venom again. Here comes whatever the Scarlet Spear, Plague Star. Rotate through those for a while. Make sure any bug fixes that need to happen keep happening, but give up on making new content. Support the game, and let the community keep playing it. And hell, maybe you could still churn out some stupid guns and shit, or do tie-in shit. Like, here's new stuff that we're making for Warframe 2.0. We're gonna release versions of it now or whatever, and then. But I'm saying, like, make a carbon copy of the game and then allow players to copy their profile over. That would be the key. That would be the thing that if they made that promise, then the community would be behind them.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody had to start at MR0 again,
mutiny.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen ever. But if you could copy your shit over, because what I'm proposing is basically the same game, just rebuilt.
Yeah.
Then the community would support that.
Yeah, iron out the code, reduce redundancies, just do a complete overhaul of the damn thing.
Yeah, I'm talking like scratch from the ground up. The only thing that would be the same would be the graphics assets, like all new code, new engine, make it modernized, do the whole work.
I will say, okay, the game as it is, the engine that they're using is surprisingly versatile because the graphics are not dated. This is a 2013 game, and just about everything art direction-wise has been improving since then, and now they're compressing images so the game is smaller than it used to be, and it looks better. But I was going to say, I'd be fascinated to know just how development is set up on Warframe in DE, if there are, like, content. I don't want to say content islands. That's the worst thing. More coding islands where Railjack is a module which is plugged into the core of Warframe. The different missions on planets are a module. The addition of Steel Path is a module that hooks into that module, which hooks into the core. Because as far as I know, no, actually, I don't even know what Warframe is coded in. I always assumed that it was some variant of C. But it was just some object-oriented programming language. If that's the case, then yeah, like having separate development departments working on a thing seems like a good idea until you get to the part where they plug into the core, and then that's the problem. So that would mean that the difficulty in development is that you have all these teams and they're not effectively coordinating with one another, or there isn't a unified understanding of how everything is supposed to plug into the core. So that's, without knowing more about that, I'm just like shitting out my mouth basically, which is what I do all the time. But
I feel like that the way you're describing it is a problem for like bigger studios, like when things go wrong at a bigger studio with teams.
They're a big studio. Be under no illusions about that. DE is a massive studio. They employ a couple hundred people. That's pretty big for a studio. That's verging on a AAA company. For a AAA development company, excuse me. Development.
I didn't realize they had grown that big.
They're big. Then they're raking in over $100 million easy each year.
So they should
net after gross net.
They should be putting out less buggy updates if they got that kind of team.
They definitely should, but the good news is that they were bought by Tencent. So I don't know why that's good news. It's just sort of that's the thing that happened.
Yep, that's a Warframe update.
So that's it. Yeah, Corpus Railjack is in there, and the next update is going to be Corpus Liches. So we'll see how they try and fix the update that they've come out with, and we will see how they break those fixes with the next update.
But yeah, to go from talking about Warframe and their many hundreds of employees, turns out there's another round of layoffs in the video game industry coming from ActiBliz, which, if you remember, we're laying off people. We were talking about that a week or two ago.
Which
There's another round
surprises
of layoffs coming there. This time, all throughout Europe, like in like 5 different countries. Activision Blizzard is going to be laying people off throughout Europe. Again, as their CEO is set to make $200 million incentive. So he's about to get paid $200 million and they're cutting jobs left and right.
Capitalism! Hey, he worked hard for that money. He earned that $200 million bonus.
Oh yeah, yep.
Mhm.
Him and his 5 yachts.
Yeah.
I think we
Only
need to start
5?
I think we need to start a yachting club, starting with his yachts.
That's the shame of it. He can only afford 5 yachts. Come on, people. Give generously.
With both hands.
So what they're saying is, it's going to be employees in the Netherlands, Germany, France, Spain, and the UK. The company is saying, though, that they're not cutting development or customer support staff. They're cutting publishing staff because they're citing the switch to digital. So they're publishing.
The paper basically managers.
Oh, good for them.
The time of record profits for Activision Blizzard.
I mean, I could see that. They don't have to pay people anymore. I know what you meant. That was an awful joke. Did not land. So,
Sploosh?
yeah. Would anyone else like to shit on ActiBliz? I'm all for that. Or would we like to talk about violence?
I mean, it depends on your violence.
Video game violence.
What kind of video game violence? There are many kinds. We are connoisseurs here, sir. I demand that you be more specific.
Mortal Kombat! Dun, 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 dun. There you go. Yeah. Zero, if I keep on humming, you think I could get you a strike?
I don't think so, because you aren't in the proper key.
Hey, you know what? I think you're fucking right. Thank you, Vanilla Ice.
I love how you just glossed over. You told him he was off key. That's great.
That's why I am. I usually am. I know nothing about music.
So yeah, no, absolutely nothing. No, it's not like it's not like you. I don't know, to school for it.
Perish the thought. All right, quick aside. I was having a conversation with one of my students actually got in contact with me. I was trying to tell them, or I asked them, or I asked her, you didn't actually, go into music or anything in college, did you? She's like, no, I went into biology. And I was, oh, that's, that is like the best thing in the world. She's like, why was I bad? I was like, no, absolutely not. You were fantastic. There are 2 things as a human being that will absolutely destroy you if you try to go into music performance, and that is being self-aware and having a soul. You have both of those things. I don't think you would have done well.
Oh, let it never be said, Doc, that you are not honest.
Mario Kart. Mario Kart producer states that violence is like Bambi compared to their games.
What the fuck does that mean?
So anywho,
like the movies are not nearly as violent. Like the movie that they're making is not nearly as violent as the games.
Yeah.
Which, seeing some of the testing shots that they've done in the trailer, I'm kind of like, maybe. But
well, here's the thing. If they wanted the level of violence that we're not talking about Mario Kart, by the way. That was me being a retard. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's making a movie. If they wanted to put the same level of violence that they have in their video games into their movie, it would easily get an NC-17 rating. They're going up against the MPAA here, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to struggle just to get an R, just from the little bit I have seen. I don't play those games, but I have seen enough to be dangerous.
There's been a long history of Mortal Kombat movies, and they've always had lots of good fights and shit. But some of them verge on the like karate movie level of fighting, where there's a lot of punching and kicking and all kinds of shit, but you don't see a ton of gore. And there's been some more gore and violence and stuff, but it's the Mortal Kombat movies have always been far toned down from the game. But
what you do? Okay, Mortal Kombat movies of the past, you take Enter the Dragon and you mix it with Batman Forever. That's pretty much what they've been.
I think you just can't do violence in a movie like they do in the video games simply because the violence in the video games is so over the top, cartoonishly so, because it's a video game and because it's animated, and you can make it cartoonishly over the top. With a movie, a live action movie, you're dealing with the basic concept of suspension of disbelief. And like, I love gory, violent shit in movies. It's fun. It can be hilarious and entertaining, and I'm all for it. But like, Sub-Zero ripping somebody's skull and spinal column out of their body is awesome in a video game. If I saw it in a movie, like that would be bullshit, and the special effects would probably be ridiculously over the top to the point where it would be so not believable in any realm of reality. So like,
wait, didn't exactly that happen in one of the Predator movies?
Yes, but that's an alien, and I'm all for it. I'm here. No, dude, like the Predator alien's like 8 feet tall and fucking jacked as shit.
I was gonna say, because again, that whole thing goes back to the suspension of disbelief. When it comes to actual people fighting each other, you're not gonna see somebody rip somebody's skull and spine completely out of their body. But when it's an 8 foot tall fucking alien, I can believe it.
Well, look, okay, suspension of disbelief is definitely, it's a thing in movies, and it's a valid point, and I understand where you're coming from. My whole thing about go back to Kill Bill, okay? Uma Thurman rips a girl's eye out and then proceeds to slaughter 88 people with a katana. All right. The only reason that part of the film turned to black and white is because there was so much blood in it when Quentin Tarantino shot that. It's not suspension of disbelief. I completely believe all of that, but there was so much gore and so much violence in that scene that the MPAA told him, in no uncertain terms, we're giving you an NC-17 rating if you keep this in the film. He came back and said, how can I keep it in the film without the NC-17 rating? They said, take out the color of the blood. So it's black and white. That's the reason that scene exists that way.
Yeah, I knew
Did
that.
not know that.
But Tarantino violence is a cartoonesque amount of violence.
It really is.
Which is great, which is fantastic. I totally think that something like that belongs in a Mortal Kombat movie.
I don't know. I feel like there's a certain amount of tongue-in-cheek Tarantino-ness that he can get away with doing that and still call it somewhat serious. I don't know. I just don't feel like it would fit right. Or I don't know. I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it to know. But I would also want the gore. If we were going to make a super gory movie with like go full on CG with the gore, like you couldn't do it as cartoonishly as Tarantino does it. Because Tarantino's gore is cartoonishly unrealistic. And what makes it so unique to his style is that it's happening in what's supposed to be a real world movie. Now, Mortal Kombat would need to do like ultra gore, ultra realistic. It couldn't be the style. It couldn't be the Tarantino style, I don't think.
Granted, it's been a while since I've seen the previous Mortal Kombat movies, but I remember them. This is why I compare them to Batman Forever. They are pretty goofy. Like, they're obviously not meant to be Oscar winners. The characters are over the top. The violence is well coordinated. I'll say a lot of the action or the fight sequences that I remember seem to be very well choreographed, so they're taking that seriously. But if they wanted to throw more gore into that, or if they wanted to get... Is Mortal Kombat the one with the dude that has 4 arms?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So suspension of disbelief aside, because human beings can't have 4 arms. If they wanted to throw like more gore into that and have that guy tear people in half or anything like that, I mean...
Not with that attitude, you can't.
Yeah, right. I don't... I'm not sure. I should go back before I form a solid opinion about this. I should go back and try to watch the Mortal Kombat movies and see what kind of an atmosphere those people were going for, and then figure out if they're trying to carry that forward or if they're trying to do more like Christopher Nolan meets Mortal Kombat.
No, well, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Is like a lot of the earlier Mortal Kombat movies from like the '90s and early 2000s and shit. They were more akin to karate movies, in my opinion. They had more that feel, like a karate action movie, than a gory action.
The other funny thing, yeah, when you said that, the other thing that came into mind was Bruce Lee doing the 4-inch punch. His fist is just 4 inches away from somebody, and he punches them back. And you see that in a movie, and you're just like, oh yeah, right. The only reason that nobody questions that anymore is because we saw Bruce Lee do it in real life.
Mhm.
So there's definitely. I think there's a lot of wiggle room and the other reason why I brought up Quentin Tarantino is because he fully admits that he's not going for like realism in his violence necessarily. He makes movies that are entertaining. He makes movies that are fun to watch. So if you're like looking at it and saying, "Oh my God, look at all this horrific violence! I don't want my children watching this," you're completely missing the point of what he's trying to do. So in that vein, um, I don't know. We need to know more about this movie. It's obviously in the very early stages. If it's supposed to be serious, or if it's supposed to be fun.
You say very early stages. It's actually coming out April 16th.
Yeah, I was about to say there was like a
Yeah.
full-on trailer not too long ago, and
Which
I've
means
seen that.
somebody is furiously editing away right now, trying to get it ready.
Yep.
Also, one of my favorite Tarantino flicks is Hateful Eight, because like most of the movie is kind of normal
Dialogue.
Yeah, it's all dialogue, and then like the last 10 minutes, 15 maybe, is just a slaughter fest. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very much the same way, where there is a lot of it's worth a watch. I mean, see, this is the thing. I mean, I say Tarantino makes movies to be fun and to enjoy watching them. Hateful Eight is what, like a 3-hour movie, and there's 2 hours and 40 minutes of people just talking to each other. I did not notice the time going by. It felt like, a half an hour, just because it's really engaging dialogue. It's a really interesting story. The writing is just it's very good. It is entertaining. It is exactly what it's going for. And then you're absolutely right. The last 10 minutes of that is just like blood everywhere. Same way with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It happens in a different way. It happens in a very entertaining way.
Well, is it equally as cartoonish as Tarantino?
Yeah. Brad Pitt's dog gets a hold of a lady. It's pretty cartoonish and great, and there's a lot of blood.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's always far more blood than is at all realistic or reasonable, and that's the real Tarantino signature: feet and excessive amounts of blood.
Inglourious Bastards probably is my favorite one, because that was really over the top, but it was fantastic.
I don't know. If you want to talk Tarantino and over the top, From Dusk Till Dawn. I really loved that movie.
The dual movies that came out, Dusk Till Dawn and I can't remember it. Whatever the movie was that came out immediately after that one. I went to that. It was a double viewing in the theater. Grindhouse?
Yeah, that sounds right. Just had the IMDb page.
Something like that. Oh, look who woke up. Morning, sleepy.
Good morning.
Oh,
made it in time.
Get to that part of the podcast where we talk about some hardware stories. Got some graphics cards news I saw. I think we should start with tie into what we were talking about recently, how nVidia said they were locking down mining on their new line of cards. It has already been defeated. They said it was possible. It's already been done. It was defeated in two factors. The first factor was when nVidia went and released beta developer drivers that bypassed the lock. They just released them, They weren't like the official live drivers, but they were publicly available like for drivers that bypass it. And it turns out there's the graphics cards check to make sure that a display is plugged into the GPU. That's one of the methods that they do to make sure that you're not using it for mining. They make sure there's a display connected. Well, it turns out that's not actually what they do. They make sure that there's an HDMI plug connected. And people found out that you could just buy a $6 HDMI plug and plug it into your graphics card, and the graphics card thinks that there's a monitor attached.
Oh.
So, that's supposedly impossible to bypass crypto mining lock by nVidia was bypassed within days, partially by nVidia's own stupidity. And well, no, both counts are nVidia's own stupidity here. So yeah,
Right.
well done, nVidia. I appreciate the effort, and you failed hilariously. And even announcing it is just basically a challenge to be defeated.
Pretty much.
But like, if you announce that you're doing this, you're basically asking people to hack it and try and defeat it. So round 1 goes to the miners. We'll see what nVidia does for round 2.
Yeah, this is real disappointing. Basically, all you need to do is go out there, buy a $6 plug, HDMI plug, and pop it onto your card, and your card says, "Oh, okay, you couldn't possibly be using me for crypto mining."
Nope. Just do that and go download these drivers. That I'm sure once they realized the mistake, nVidia immediately took down, but which have already been
once it's on the internet, it's everywhere.
All the mining forums and discords and shit have links to it.
Yeah, it's going to be there's an entire web service that just archives NVIDIA drivers. It's probably available there.
So, well done, NVIDIA. Let's see what your next attempt will be, because this one was a short-lived but glorious failure.
Yep. Well, if you're going to go out, go big.
The question becomes, if they try to fix this, can they fix it, or do they have to wait until they make a brand new fucking video card in order to do that?
I mean, what I'm gonna guess here is that it is a software component that checks to see whether or not there's an HDMI cable attached, and if the software, because the port would obviously report back that there's a connection. So if they changed that software to not only check if there is a connection, but whether that connection is being used with display information, that might be a step in the right direction. But I don't know enough about their hardware or their software.
Well, basically, everyone that's already been released can't be touched, because that hardware exists and the drivers for it exist.
Yeah,
NVIDIA can't invalidate the fact that hardware and that driver work together. They can't do that. They can't.
You can't
the hardware on your graphics card unless you put a new driver on there that changes the software to make it not work anymore, which they could do. If you end up putting on like a new version of a driver that changes the firmware or the BIOS of your graphics card,
that's the whole thing.
That could be it. But if you don't, and you just use this new this beta development driver, they can't do anything. But any new chips that they ship out from here on out, they could put any sort of new attempt to block it that would presumably fix these two shortcomings. So basically the ones that have come out so far, they are mineable cards. It's to see what measures they implement on the future cards that they release.
Also in NVIDIA news, speaking of hacking cards, a Russian modder called VicOn has produced a walkthrough video where he is upgraded a GeForce RTX 3070 to 16 gigs of memory. So, good for fucking him. What he's actually done is opened up the card, removed the heatsink, and he has replaced memory modules on the card itself. RTX has a total of 8 modules, and the total capacity, 8 modules, which means that the total capacity has increased to 16 gigabytes.
Yeah, he just
So
swapped out the 1 gig memory chips for 2 gig. Same model by Samsung, just like the 2 gig version, and everything else basically just slotted right in.
So this is kind of hilarious to me because I am all for this. I'm all for home modding. If you can do this and you can do it well and you can make a card that works, you absolutely deserve to be able to do this, in my opinion. And it's really funny to me because these chips exist, which means nVidia at one point, someone sat down in NVIDIA and was just like, okay, we're not going to use those chips. We're only going to use these three, or the 1 gigs, and hopefully that's going to inspire people to, or incentivize people rather, to upgrade their cards and spend more money on us. And a modder has come along saying, no, man, you don't have to do that. So yeah, good for him. The full video is up, I believe on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube, and you can watch it if you have a soldering iron and you're comfortable installing microchips onto boards. If you did that in high school or in college or anything, this is doable. This is totally doable.
The funniest thing about this hack job that he did is like it took a lot of work to figure out how to make it stable by tweaking various settings and stuff. But his first attempt, he was trying to do benchmark tests. So he was trying to run the 3D Mark Time Spy, and the card was unstable and would go black screens. He found out that it was more stable if he also ran the Furmark benchmark test in the background as well. So it was more stable running with 2 high-intensity benchmarking tests than it was 1, until he eventually figured out a fix. But yeah, he figured out a way to fucking double the memory capacity on a graphics card. And it really makes you think, though, like, what's more important on a graphics card? Is it the chip or the memory? Like, what kind of performance would you get out of like a 1060 if you doubled the memory capacity?
You'd get the same performance of a 1060. The CUDA cores are the most important thing. It's like it's great if you have 64 gigs of RAM in your computer, but if you have a dual core processor or something like that, that's obviously going to be the bottleneck. So adding more memory is good, especially for more demanding games. COD comes to mind. I would say City Skylines, but that's actually pretty optimized in terms of graphics, as I discovered short ago. So yeah, the CUDA cores on your graphics card are going to determine how fast it can process the information. The memory is just there so that the information that it processes is on hand. It's easier to get at. It's faster to get at. But the card that was modified is an RTX 3070, so it's good.
Well, it makes you wonder: is this the kind of test that, like, is he going to get vastly greater performance out of it, or is it the kind of thing that like you can do, but like it's not really something that is necessary to do? Yeah, I don't think this is going to be something that a lot of gamers are going to be lining up to do just because this guy figured out how to do it.
He's definitely got a corner on the market.
Hold up a second here. I am he actually did post screenshots of benchmarks, so I'm gonna compare some real quick.
Yeah, they ended up being better than the 3070 Founders Edition. What is what he said? So basically, he got a.
It's the score that he posted is definitely better. Then again, I'm not entirely sure what CPU was using. Does that enter into this score? It does.
Looks like he's running a CPU AMD Ryzen 7 3700X 8-core.
Oh, good eye. Yeah, he is.
32 gigs of RAM.
And that's a superposition benchmark. Okay. post fix. It looks just offhand from what I can gather from benchmark .com or whatever the fuck site this is. It looks like the score that he posted is definitely better than the stock card.
Stock car.
The stock car.
NASCAR go brrr.
Driving it around inside of his PC. So yeah, I mean, more memory, obviously. If you can store more information on board, and it's DDR6. That's like lightning fast. We should have RAM and motherboards that's DDR6, but we don't. It's obviously going to allow the card to pull more information faster and utilize the onboard cores better than a card that has to draw that information from whatever external buffer, RAM or paging file or whatever. But yeah, I think this is overall going to be something that like hardcore enthusiasts get into, or it's one of those things on YouTube where people are just like, huh, neat. Or maybe nVidia will hire him. And even mining. So yeah, you can, I guess if this is improving the benchmark of your card and you want to use an RTX 3070 to mine, you can upgrade it to 16 gigabytes, and then you can buy yourself a $6 HDMI port clip, and yeah, go nuts.
But yeah, so this is his machine. His time spy, 3D time spy, was 13,783 points. And I'm looking up on Guru 3D, which I see a lot in benchmarking discussion. So I consider them reliable. They've got the RTX 3070 at 12,618. So he squeezed about 1,200 points.
That's not bad.
The base version. So he went from he squeezed out 1,200 points over the base RTX 3070.
That's not nothing.
No, it's not. I wonder, was there a temperature change when he made these alterations to his card? Like, do you think he had to do anything different with his heating and cooling?
I doubt it, because most of the heat is coming off of the actual GPU itself.
It's coming. The CUDA cores on a card are by far what generates the most heat. Those are the things that the heat pads and the heat sink are directly in contact with. Memory typically runs cooler just natively, so upgrading memory shouldn't have added very much heat. On the other hand, he's enabling the CUDA cores to work more efficiently, obviously 1,200 points more efficiently. So there might have been a marked increase in heat, but I wish that I could see. There's a screenshot where he's got the fucking MSI control panel up, and if it was just a little bit more to the right, I could see the temperature that the card is running at.
It almost makes me wonder if it's the type of situation where you're doubling the capacity of the memory, which basically makes the memory have to work less hard, so it actually might even generate less.
That's what I was getting at, actually, was basically if you double the memory and basically offset the load that normally it has to take on, allowing your core to actually be more efficient in the processing power that it actually uses, does that actually decrease? I mean, it maybe doesn't do it significantly enough, but I almost say that almost every little bit of a temperature drop, every little bit helps when it comes to, especially if you're doing things like overclocking, doubling, and basically doing doubles and things like that in order to just like get every little bit of ounce of power and processing out of your rig. Like every little bit of that temperature difference can make a difference, because then you don't have to put in as severe of a cooling system as, like, say previously, because you got heat sinks on most of these cores. If the better efficiency keeps the temperature down, that you don't have to like put in like any liquid cooling or anything like that in order to keep temperature
I think
down.
the opposite. The better efficiency means the more that you might be able to fucking overvolt this thing and see if you can't push it.
Well, yeah, you definitely could. So
more heat.
yeah, you're going in the direction that I'm going. I was trying to think of a good way to do this. The only thing that kept on it for some reason is looms in old New England mills. So yeah, you have a loom that is being fed thread, and it's making that thread into cloth. It's a machine. It's capable of working a lot faster than it is, but people are feeding in this wool. So all of a sudden, you triple the number of people that are feeding wool into the machine. The machine works faster because it's getting more material in and it's generating a product faster. Working faster means more heat. So no matter what here, more efficient data flow from memory to cores. Absolutely. The cores then can work harder. That means more heat, no matter what.
Yeah, because the heat is being generated by the thing doing the work, and the memory is the pathway to that. So if all you're doing is expanding the capacity for the memory to do work, I mean, you're basically giving it a head start on overclocking. I imagine this would be a supremely overclockable card now that it has that much memory flexibility, or that much of a buffer zone of extra capacity there. You could probably juice the hell out of it and not have to worry. Because my understanding is when you overclock things, a lot of the instability comes from the memory.
Yes.
So, okay, I hate to interrupt, but I have actually got breaking news that just came through from a friend of mine. The leetness is fine.
Okay.
This just in, Microsoft is now in talks to acquire Discord for more than $10 billion, according to people familiar with the matter.
The fuck?
Christ.
Good lord.
This is directly from Bloomberg. It came off of their Twitter about 10:15, so about 40 minutes ago.
God fucking damn it.
Maybe Microsoft is just acting like Tencent here, and they're just going to buy it so the Discord can make them money.
Maybe they're just buying it so Discord or so Tencent doesn't.
Oh, well,
Buying
maybe.
it because their failed experience, or what the fuck was their whole meeting software called that they tried to get going during COVID? Microsoft Connect or some bullshit.
Microsoft Teams.
Sorry, that's Ubisoft Connect, and I just lumped them in with Microsoft.
Teams is more of it's a less consumer focused product, so the fact that they were trying to make it a consumer focused product is amusing.
Yeah, right. So maybe that's it. Jesus Christ. Come on, Microsoft. As long as they don't fuck with the platform, I'm fine. Otherwise, we're switching over to Gilded.
Yeah.
So I do
Gilded set up. Church of Chonkwij has a Gilded.
I do have to thank my friend over at Merkaba 18 at Merkaba 18 Gaming. He's the one who dropped that just a few minutes ago.
Fantastic. It fits into the tech sector that we're talking about.
Yeah, real good timing, and for once we cover breaking news.
That is pretty nuts.
The last thing that we wanted to talk about on the tech front was the RTX 3080 Ti is supposedly getting a release date, most likely mid-April, and it will be a 12 gigabyte card. The performance is going to be faster than an RTX 3080, particularly at 4K, and the price has yet to be announced. There's speculation that it's going to be $1,000, but we all know it's going to be more than that.
Well, it'll be $1,000. It immediately snapped up by bots, and then it'll be $2,500 on eBay.
Yeah, there you go. So my question would be: will the RTX 3080 Ti ship with the same flaw that the other cards have shipped with, where people are able to use them for mining?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna ship with double that. Double.
How many times do you say double?
Double that.
You want to double down on that?
I do want to double down and split and then double down again.
It's 2.
My God.
My brain is not computing right now. I'm sorry.
No,
Well, it's a
it's
good thing you
fine.
can still push buttons.
Shit, we were just talking about CUDA cores. This thing's gonna have 10,240 CUDA cores on it.
This is
That's a
so
lot.
ridiculously overpowered for anything that any gamer could ever need.
Oh no, yeah, no, this is big dick tech.
Like this is literally for me. This is only going to be about people who have far more money than sense, or people who
Yep.
have legitimate use for it, like graphics,
Yeah.
design,
This
rendering, and shit like that. But like, I mean, keep in mind this isn't even their most expensive RTX card, which is 3090, which is $1,500. But still, like $1,000 for a graphics card, MSRP, and that's not adding on the couple $100 for the when you get the third party cards rather than the actual nVidia stock cards. So when you're looking to get the Asus ROG Strix 3080 Ti, you're probably going to be dropping $1,200-$1,300 MSRP.
This card exists so that Ninja can flex on 12-year-olds.
This
can go die in a fire.
This card reminds me of a truck I saw the other day in the Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot. It was jacked up on 28-inch rims and had very brightly colored blue truck nuts hanging off the hitch on the back. The license plate read P3N15.
I think it's inverted at that point. Like, I think it's just sucked up into the body cavity. It is so goddamn small.
You think that the guy who drives that truck can do the thing where he sticks his thumb in his mouth and he blows and his penis just sort of pops out?
So, fun story. It was a rather attractive looking female who was driving that truck.
She was driving Daddy's truck.
Yeah. Do you think that her dad has a tiny dick?
Oh God. The real question is, do we think her dad is a mailman?
Ooh.
No.
It might be her stepdad.
Ooh.
No, guys. It's her
boyfriend?
daddy.
Oh God.
Yeah, no.
What are you doing, step bro?
Coasting with the same place that I did, but he didn't throw in the incest. Because he's a gentleman.
Oh yeah, he has his moments.
Wait, what state was this in, Zero?
Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah, it's totally believable that could have belonged to her stepdad boyfriend.
What's that, Omega?
I'm pretty sure first cousin is legal in Virginia.
No, that's West Virginia. God, y'all always get it confused.
I mean, they're right next to each other.
I think second cousins is where it starts in South Dakota.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, seriously, it starts all the way up there and just
law does not prohibit cousins from marrying.
Oh, I did not need to know this. That is disgusting.
God damn.
I'm leaving. Doc, is it okay if I move up there? Will your people accept me?
I mean, probably.
You're gonna have to learn how to drive like an asshole.
Done.
According to the Virginia State Bar Association, an agency of the Supreme Court of Virginia, you cannot legally marry a relative closer to you than a cousin, even if they're only half-blood relatives.
At least they have standards.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Marriages between step relations are not prohibited, but it is illegal for step-parents and step-grandparents to engage in sexual relations with their stepchildren and step-grandchildren.
Well, what the hell fun is that?
There is no statutory prohibition against step-sibling relations, however, and Virginia law does not prohibit cousins from marrying.
First of all, can we talk about incest porn?
No, we can't. No, we really can't.
Save that for the after show.
I am really close to getting I'm really close to getting my first payout from Twitch, and I don't want to jeopardize that.
If Alinity can show her tits on stream, we can talk about incest porn. I'd like to know where it's legal in this country to actually film incest porn, so that Pornhub can stop being inundated with all these videos about how, stepbrother, caught me in the shower, when it's really obviously just a boyfriend and a girlfriend who have been making videos for years and are trying to do clickbait. All right,
I mean, 90% of it's 90% of it's actual porn company, like actual porn stars.
Oh,
doing
no, I know.
stepbrother, stepsister videos.
Good lord, I'm so tired of it. All right, either it's real or move on to the next thing, please.
Finally, a man who has standards.
Oh. Okay.
I don't.
Alright
I
then.
I'm not even sure how to properly address that.
Kosin,
so-
Okay.
Kosin, all I'm saying is you woke up for this.
Hey, no, I'm okay with that.
Welcome
I
to the
needed
party,
to
buddy.
wake up.
Has anyone ever seen the porn where the two guys dress in a horse costume and the horse does the girl?
No, I
Yes,
have
I
not.
I have seen something similar to that, but you want to know what I saw earlier today that just kind of made me blink? All right, so we have all seen the meme of the little white girl sitting on the couch and then surrounded
You're-
by black men, right?
Okay, we're talking about a notorious video starring Piper Perry where she got gangbanged by 5 black dudes. Yes.
Yeah, it's a massive internet meme.
Yes.
Yeah, it's-
Okay.
She's very famous.
She and those black guys got together again and did a TikTok meme.
Oh my god.
I want you to post that in my Discord, please.
if
If
I
you
can,
can find that, that'd be great.
if I can, I didn't like it on. I didn't like heart it or anything like that on TikTok.
Oh no.
So
failure.
I don't have it, but I will try to find it for you again because it was like the most hilarious thing I've ever seen.
Oh, look
Actually,
at
I
that. Piper Perry is on TikTok.
Oh boy.
Do you guys have you guys seen the pterodactyl porn?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I grew up with that shit. And the spider porn, the tarantula porn.
The pterodactyl, yeah, the tarantula is great. I just put the pterodactyl gif in the. You don't want to show that on the stream.
I'm not. I'm not.
It's
good
like
lord.
a straight up porn gif.
Oh god.
It's chicken
but
getting gangbanged by 3 pterodactyls.
That is. Oh god, I'm not sleeping tonight. Well, there goes that. It was a pipe dream to begin with. Now it's completely
It's
gone.
amazingly no, it's intuitive. It was revolutionary when it came out, and the internet loved it.
You want to know what's amazing? What's truly amazing? I found this GIF immediately on Google by searching pterodactyl porn GIF. This imagery link was from a Reddit post from 9 years ago.
Oh my god.
Vintage gift.
This is internet history. This is vintage internet porn. Absolutely.
Ugh.
I will be honest, I had not seen this, and it is now forever ingrained in my brain.
Yep. Well,
I'll
my
leave
therapist
Doc
and
to
my
find the spider GIF.
my therapist and myself will have plenty to talk about in next week's session.
I was about to say if that gives you nightmares, boy, are you in for a treat.
Let me introduce you to my 4chan folder.
Oh god. Please no. Have me
And-
curled up in a corner somewhere crying.
Oh no, it's fine. I won't show you the gore folder.
That's appreciated, because that will give me nightmares.
Oh yeah, that's a glorious just black hole of human villainy and scum.
No doubt.
Oh, so what else do we have to
Yeah.
talk about?
Speaking of human villainy and scum, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the most watched series premiere ever for Disney Plus. Disney Plus did not, however, give any numbers as to the exact viewership. You're just supposed to trust them that it's true. And there's a lot of stuff on TikTok featuring Piper Perry.
He's dived into the hole. Literally.
So giggity. So yes, and honestly, I was after the way that WandaVision ended, I was like, okay, I cannot wait 2 weeks for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then of course it did not disappoint at all.
It was pretty good.
The opening episode, I will definitely be watching the episode Friday before I go to work. So,
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. I was quite impressed with it.
so
I, on the other hand, who am not enthralled with Marvel, was paying attention to the more critical reviews, and I had a good laugh.
Oh yeah.
So, who is it? Anthony Mackie and is it Sebastian Stan?
Yes, correct.
Okay, wanted to make sure I had the actors' names right, but yeah, I'm impressed with both of them. They've both done a very good job.
What about the critical reviews that made you laugh? Because I'm now like deeply curious. Because reviewers are always hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Whether if they make good reviews, bad reviews, or like I'm always curious if there was something that stood out to you.
Oh, geez. I'm never going to be able to find the Reddit threads again. Roger Ebert was a little bit critical of it. It struggles to get off the ground, according to him. And there's a lengthy review that I will post if anyone would like to read it.
If it's coming from Roger Ebert, I take it with a massive grain of salt because I cannot stand him.
This is true, but the guy knows movies.
He does, but this is not a movie.
Movie, TV. Look, the dividing line between a movie and a TV show these days, Disney knows.
Oh, yeah.
That's why this is a TV series. That's why WandaVision is a TV series and not another couple of movies.
I appreciate that it's a TV series and that they have time to tell their fucking story as opposed to trying to pack it into like 2 4-hour movies or 2 3-hour movies or whatever that may come out like years apart. So
yeah, I generally agree that the unpacking of a large story or something like that is more conducive to TV nowadays, just because TV nowadays has massive budgets.
It would have
20 years ago.
It would have taken them at least 3 2-hour movies to unpack everything in WandaVision, and it still wouldn't have done the job.
Yeah. I will admit I actually did not watch WandaVision as it came out. I mean, I'm not like a huge Marvel. I've never read the comic books. I am content to watch the media for the most part. But despite really liking Wanda as a character, I did not watch it immediately when it came out. But for some reason, once I watched Winter's Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first episode, I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm watching some more. Oh, hey, I haven't watched WandaVision yet. And
Binged.
then 8 hours, and then like, not 8 hours later, and then like 5 hours later, I was done. It was 4 a.m. and I went to bed. Having watched all of it.
Yeah.
And it was good.
I did that. I watched them all each week, and then I went back after the final episode and watched all of them in one setting to kind of unpack everything, because my buddy and I, guy that was the best man at my wedding, him and I are huge Marvel fans. I mean, like, we collect the comics, we've read the comics, we know the stories from the comic books, and it always, we also like to take stock of all of the wild fan theories, and then go in and laugh at the people who came up with the fan theories, because there was absolutely no way that they were going to be true. So, but that's just me because I'm a dick.
Yeah, no.
When it comes to comics, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of a purist.
I honestly, my biggest worry with Falcon and Winter Soldier is the fact that it's Disney who has integrated what some would say are very topical matters for their series, like the idea of like how busted up an economy can become after a big massive bullshit thing that happens. So like in this case, like the comparison of the blip to the housing market crash and like all the bullshit that came with that. And then when it comes to identity politics, when it comes to like how that the guy that was the loan officer basically thinking that the Falcon, a fucking Avenger, was a, big state football player rather than actually being one of the many heroes that helped save the world from Thanos and all this other kind of crap. And then the audacity to deny him a loan and then beg, and then ask for a picture or ask for a selfie and then taking that selfie, afterwards. Plus also this, another thing, like one of the biggest things that I picked up on in a paper I was reading is that there's an increased amount of loneliness in people nowadays. And that was also another thing that they were kind of addressing on Bucky's side of things, and veterans affairs and other stuff like that. And so Disney is notorious for trying to do these things, like talk about, situations that have real world applications, and then completely bombing it, or turning things into straw men, or just doing things that are, that's what I'm nervous about, because there could be on top of the entertainment value that you get out of watching Falcon and Winter Soldier just kick the crap out of bad guys, there can be a talk about these things in context of the show. And if Disney just punts it poorly like they normally do with every other issue that's come before it, then it's just going to make for a really rough really rough social media experience.
If they ham fist the issues in there, then it will be very hard for them to recover. But I don't, with the way that they staged the issues in the first episode, I don't see that being an issue. Of course, I could be wildly wrong, and we'll see that in 8 episodes.
Right, and so, I think they have a really good start to it too as well. Like I do not deny that. I just know that Disney is notorious for fucking this up, and so I'm just like,
Disney. See, you say that Disney's not notorious for fucking it up at all. Disney allows it in there and exacerbates it and promotes it and puts it out there because it generates buzz. People start talking about this. They start arguing on the internet, which they know is pointless, and it gets them a lot of attention. So they don't care. This is the whole thing. Go back to the Star Wars movies, where there's like this social justice robot in the middle of Solo, and there's no point for that being in there. There's no point for this robot fighting for the smaller guy. It's a nice message. And the same thing with episode 8, where you go to that planet and there are a whole bunch of rich people, and they're like, yeah, this is what capitalism does. It shits on these smaller pieces. It's Disney producing this. They're a massive capitalist organization making billions of dollars shitting on smaller people because that's how capitalism works. The message in there, somebody might have had a good idea, and somebody might have had a story that they wanted to tell, and somebody might have thought that this was a good platform to reach as many people and spread this message as far as they can. The only reason that's allowable, and the only reason that Disney is going to go along with it and promote it and intentionally fuck it up if they can, is to get free advertising.
Any publicity is good publicity.
There you go. Yeah. That's my take on it. I'm cynical and jaded, and I have a very small penis.
That makes me very sad. But I agree.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You could buy me a dick pump for my birthday. It's next month.
Note to self.
Wow, are we all a bunch of spring babies or something?
June.
That's pretty close. I mean, summer. You're right in that neighborhood there. By the way, I posted the GIF of the woman.
I saw it, and I am now done sleeping ever.
There it is. You can find it.
There you go. Yeah, I have these videos somewhere.
Well, I
There
think
was another bizarre. Golem. Smeagol from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
That was
God.
another one. When that came out, yeah, woman dressed up as Smeagol, getting the business put to her.
Oh, well, I think that about wraps up the topic list for this week.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's not it. We've also been going for over 2 hours. This is a special podcast for us. It's 20th episode, so happy 20th, everybody.
Yes.
Yay.
Extra stamina for extra fun.
And the first porn gifts in my Discord. Thanks.
The first time ever.
Yeah, first time ever. There's really been no nudity. There's been implied nudity because Unella likes that sort of thing, but never straight up. So tomorrow, of course, GT is going to log into Discord and see what's going on, and then he's just going to immediately turn the place on and be like, "Yeah, that place has just gone to shit," and he's going to be correct.
I mean, if it's going to become a trend, you might as well put in a secured channel or some bullshit like that.
I don't intend. There's another Discord server that I go for all my porn. Thank you very much. I don't think that's going to become a standard thing. It was historic. Okay, those are historic porn films that everybody listening should go out and try to find. Pterodactyl porn and woman dressed as a tarantula.
Right.
Not in the same video, unfortunately. We haven't gotten that advanced yet.
No, there are a few like Hallmark porn videos that everybody should watch.
E.T.
There's
another E.T. the horny extraterrestrial. That's another one. E.T. gets the shit fucked out of him.
Everybody should see Lemon Stealing Whore.
That is featuring
Lemon Stealing Whore.
Yes, just don't explain it. Don't just look up.
I'm trying to remember the name of the woman because she's dead.
Yeah, one of the women died.
Aww.
Hopefully because of old age and not because of the porn.
All right. Give me one. Don't end it yet. I gotta look it up now. Lemon Stealing.
No. I'm really trying to get this payout, y'all. I'm serious.
I understand and wish to proceed. Oh, the funniest porn intro ever.
Oh,
I mean,
it really is.
I need to be clear. You need to watch the whole porn. It's not just a funny. Like, the intro is great, but
the meme persists throughout the entire thing.
Throughout the entire porn. It's
Haley
amazing.
Page. I think her name was Haley Page.
It's the woman who died is not the one who's getting nailed for most of it. It's the woman who's spectating, I guess you could say.
Yes, she is encouraging James Dean to punish the lemon stealing whore.
Yes.
Aha.
But yes, so it's amazing.
What's that? It's a whore. It's a whore stealing our lemons.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Oh, that is great. I'm not gonna lie, that is.
All right, so thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a terrific time. Happy 20th, and we'll catch you guys next time. Here's Zero to take you lemon whores out.
For when the podcast can drink.
Oh yes. So as happened last week, Thursday will be the raiding tour. We are going to the Burning Crusades raids next week. We did end up finishing all of the classic raids last week. I got 0 gear. So just look for that. Keep an eye on Twitter. Maybe more streams other than that. But until next week, we will see you in the next one.
Also, when you finish Lemon Stealing Whore, go look up Lemon Party next. Goodbye.
He did it. He said the thing.
Anyways, have fun, y'all.
Have a good night.
Penis.